The following is an original Livin' podcast.
5 races in, and this season has gotten pretty interesting for the O'Reilly side. Nothing really new there as far as recent news. We got a bunch of Cup drivers coming on in, and let's say bushwhacking, if you will, on the regulars over in the O'Reilly series. And the Cup series, well, Toyota has officially re-entered the chat, but this time with Joe Gibbs Racing and Denny Hamlin nabbing his first win of the season. And one thing to also note, Chevrolet has yet to win in the Cup Series. But we're going to talk a lot more about some other things that happened over the weekend on this episode of Gamers Talk NASCAR. As always, I'm Elijah Leonard here with you. Slifer is over to my right. Wyatt is not here. He currently is getting some rest because he has some work in the morning. And as for Stapleton, he's probably recording another JBO Cup Series race. So, regardless of that, what's going on, Slifer? How we doing, man?
Got lucky with the storms today.
Yeah, the storms, especially up here, I mean, in the Midwest, have been absolutely completely out of whack. We've had like several different advisories, like particularly wind. Wind has been kind of a huge topic of conversation. The snow has just officially made a return. I don't know for how long.
Especially down in as far south as Alabama.
Yeah.
Say there was a storm chaser that actually got stuck in Michigan.
Oh my.
In the snow.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was up north, because the last time I looked at the radar, I saw a lot of pink up at the north end. Whew, I'm willing to bet you that further up north, especially into the UP, definitely got hammered. But regardless of that, we've been holding our own. The advisories at this point have all cleared off, and hopefully we're safe and sound for a while. But just one thing I do want to say here before we do get started, and this is actually a pretty cool announcement, is that by the time that you are listening to this on the 19th of March, we will officially have our own Reddit page. That's right. Gamers Talk NASCAR now officially has its own Reddit page, so you can join it at any time. You can keep up with all the news and the notes that we may potentially share with you guys as far as the show is concerned. It's completely brand new. There's still some things that we need to work out, especially at the time that we're recording this on Stone Cold Steve Austin Day. But regardless of that, we do have our own Reddit page. Just type in r/Gamers Talk NASCAR on reddit.com, and you can join to become a member today. I think you just have to obviously send in a little request. We might get that changed later if it does become an issue. But regardless of that, you can keep up with all the episodes that we do end up posting. You can share news. You can share some cool stuff that happened in a race or in past events. Anything cool. Anything related to NASCAR, we've got an awesome page for you guys here. It's r/GamersTalkNASCAR.com on Reddit. Actually, either or. It's still reddit.com regardless.
Right here.
There it is. Just like that. Account permanently banned. What?
I don't know. I don't know why it's stupid, but I don't know how I'm banned on Reddit.
All right, let's get on into the Vegas weekend. I kept up with the O'Reilly Series week festivities a little bit. I tried to keep up with the leaderboard, but the Cup race was also another one that I had a little bit of an issue kind of keeping up with. But I did see I obviously saw some things that happened throughout the weekend, but give or take, Slifer, what if you watched both races this weekend, what's your take on the Vegas weekend?
Well, more the Cup than anything. I thought it was a decent race. Obviously disagreements on whatever happened on the track, it's going to be normal. But overall, it was long overdue for Hamlin
Yeah.
to win. My question though is, can anyone stop Toyota?
That is honestly a really good question, because Toyota, especially within the first sixth of the season, has been on a tear. They have won 4 out of the last 5 races, 3 of which with Tyler Reddick in 2311. And now Denny Hamlin throwing his name into the hat with Joe Gibbs Racing. And Ryan Blaney is the only driver that is a non-Toyota driver to win a race so far this year. So Ford and Toyota, obviously 4-1 right now. Chevrolet, as we mentioned at the intro of the show, is currently 0-5 right now when it comes to trying to win one race. The only other driver that logically could have gotten the job done is anybody from the Hendrick stable that currently is still running. I mean, obviously running full time. So that being Larson, Elliott, and Byron, which those 3 guys in particular have been pretty strong.
Yeah, Byron did have a chance, but there's always next week.
there is always next week, absolutely. And another ironic thing, talking about both races here, for both Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin in their respective races, they both share something in common. They both started second, and they both won. They both went on to win their both of their respected races as well.
And I also just found this. So that in the top 7, obviously, I think it was, don't know if they finished all in top 7, but Joe Gibbs had all 4 cars in the top 7.
This is true. Actually, top 8, because Briscoe finished in 8th. What we're seeing at the beginning part of this year, I mean, it's pretty astounding of, the effects obviously the off season, with Toyota, especially Toyota, because it's kind of like Toyota's sort of entering a second wind of dominance. In other words, if we recall back in the mid 2010s, we talk about Joe Gibbs Racing back then. This was before 2311 came to be. You had in the Cup Series in particular, you had all 4 of the Joe Gibbs cars at that point be extremely dominant, especially if it's like, Kyle Busch was winning almost every race. Matt Kenseth would pop up and he'd start popping off. He'd start winning some races here and there. Here comes Denny Hamlin, winning the regular season finale race at Richmond before the whole chase starts. Furniture Row, I mean, I know they don't really exist anymore, but at the time when they switched to a Toyota, they absolutely went on a tear before their championship season. Carl Edwards, I mean, granted, he didn't. We really do. Although he did, I'd say he probably was the most consistent finishing driver out of the entire Gibbs stable. Granted, I don't think he won a whole lot last year, or not last year. I wish he was around last year, but 10 years ago, he won several races back in 2016. But it's
and also then we had the Hendricks era.
Oh yeah, we did, but no, Toyota, I feel like, is entering a second wind where they're popping off. This is very reminiscent to when Joe Gibbs in Furniture Row was pretty much dominating the entire season in regards of wins. But when it comes down to a championship, obviously we kind of saw how that turned out in what was then the Xfinity Series with Suarez winning the championship, but obviously not faring all that well in Cup. We could see history repeat itself 10 years later It's very, very early to say that right now, but that's what it's looking like. You know, that's what the tone is giving in my eyes to start off the season. Where you got JGR, they're starting to put together the numbers, but then you also have another Toyota team like 2311. They're kind of filling the shoes of what Furniture Row did 10 years ago with Truex. They are going on a tear, but it is very, very early in the season still, almost a sixth of the way through. Let's go ahead and get on down into our finishing results here from the Vegas weekend, starting off with the O'Reilly Series race. Obviously, we saw Kyle Larson go to victory lane in the number 88, which honestly should still belong to Raj Caruth. Cough, cough. Chase Briscoe finishing in the second position. Sheldon Creed finishing in third after starting third, so good run for him. Justin Allgaier finishing in fourth. Sammy Smith rounding out your top five. And then Jesse Love in sixth. Connor Zilich in seventh. Corey Day finishing in eighth. In ninth is William Sawalich and Austin Hill rounding out your top 10. From positions 11th on down to 20th, they look like this. Carson Kvapil, Parker Retzloff, Brandon Jones, Kyle Sieg, Daniel Dye, Josh Williams, Harrison Burton, Cole Custer, Raja Caruth, and Brendan Poole. 21st on down to 30th looks like this. It is Patrick Staropoli, Blaine Perkins, Josh Bilicki, Jeremy Clements, Austin Green, LeVar Scott, Jet Burton in car 27 finishing position 27, Mason Maggio, Joey Gase, and Ryan Ellis. That's your top 30. And then our final 8 finishers go in this order. Dean Thompson, Nathan Beard, Ryan Sieg, Anthony Alfredo, Sam Mayer, who was the last car running on the racetrack 4 laps down, also with the fastest lap of the race. And then our 3 retirees of Chandler Smith, who went out on lap 184, Taylor Gray on lap 148, and Nick Sanchez on lap 141. Now, let's shift over to the Cup side. Of course, with Denny Hamlin nabbing his first win of the season, Chase Elliott finishing in the second position, William Byron finishing in third, Christopher Bell, our pole sitter for the Vegas weekend, coming home in the fourth position, Ty Gibbs completing the top 5, then Chris Buescher finishing in sixth, then in seventh, that is Kyle Larson, Chase Briscoe finishing in eighth, Bubba Wallace ninth, and Brad Keselowski coming up inside of the top 10. 11th on down to 20th looks like this. Ryan Preece, a little short of a top 10, but still a good result nonetheless. Then it's Austin Dillon, Tyler Reddick, Zane Smith, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, Ross Chastain, Daniel Suarez, Austin Cindric, and Eric Jones. That is your top 20. 21st on down to 30th looks like this. John Hunter Nemechek, Carson Hocevar, Riley Herbst, AJ Allmendinger, Justin Allgaier, who was in the 48 for this week, Michael McDowell, Cole Custer, Kyle Busch, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Noah Gragson, your top 30. And then from 31st on down to 36th, looks like this. Josh Berry, Connor Zilich, Ty Dillon, Todd Gilliland in car 34, finishing in position 34, Cody Ware, and SVG. Nobody went out of the race, and all, at least from 20th on up, finished on the lead lap.
Now, I think this was SVG's worst race so far this season.
No, by a landslide.
Um,
No pun intended from the save that he had to start the race.
I don't know how I would feel finishing below Cody Ware.
To be honest, I wouldn't feel all that good about it either. Like I honestly, it's still, again, this is another race where everybody managed to finish, but some drivers, in my mind, like to see some guys finish as low as they did. Josh Berry, who won last year, he at least from what I just saw from the results, did not show up at all.
In my honest opinion, I think it proved from the O'Reilly race and the Cup race, Zillett should have waited at least one more year.
Right.
Do some test sessions in a Cup car. Obviously, no racing, just to get familiarized with it, then move up. But he did better when he filled in
I could see it, yeah.
than running full time. But I did find that something about Ty Gibbs.
Okay.
He's become the 5th youngest driver to score 3 straight top 5s in the modern era.
That's cool.
Now, do you remember the other 4?
No.
So we'll go back as far back as 2006.
Okay.
Kyle Busch,
That doesn't surprise me one bit.
Joey Logano in 2010,
That also doesn't surprise me.
who was 20 years old then.
Yep.
Then we have Eric Jones in 2017 at the age of 21. And William Byron 6 years ago.
Okay. Now, we've gotten our race recap somewhat. Race recap. At least what we know and what we remember. That's taken care of and that's out of the way. And now we now shift our attention over to Wyatt's favorite segment out of the whole show, the whole damn points.
I mean, we had to keep it PG because we know what it would really be.
Oh yeah, he would he would insert a few explicitives here and there.
It would be the whole points.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what it would be. So before the show started, before he went to bed, Wyatt did go through and he did update all the points. So I went through, I checked them all. So everything should be updated and we should be good to go. So going in to Darlington next week, or at least leaving Las Vegas, in the O'Reilly side, Justin Allgaier, as far as we know, or at least as of right now, is 133 points above the cutoff line, followed by Jesse Love, who is winless so far this year, 120 points above. Then his teammate Austin Hill is 104. Then Sheldon Creed is up by 84. Carson Kvapil up by 69. Nice. And then Sammy Smith up by 60. Corey Day up by 50 points. Raja Karuth up by 33. Parker Retzloff 25. Sam Mayer 18. Brandon Jones 16. And then Taylor Gray is 6 points above the cutoff line, holding on over Jeb Burton, who is 6 below. Brendan Poole, who is 13 below. William Sawalich 15. Then Patrick Staropoli 23. Anthony Alfredo 28. Ryan Sieg down by 29, along with Blaine Perkins, who is also down by 29. Kyle Sieg down by 28. And both Austin Green and Jeremy Clements down by 45 points. Well, how about that for the first 5 races of the O'Reilly Series season? And it's impressive to me. And when we look at the points, I mean, still, I think we mentioned it last week, Parker Retzloff for Viking Motorsports, by the way. A team that obviously was kind of like mediocre at the very, very best last year when they had Dibby behind the wheel. But now with guys like Parker Retzloff and Anthony Alfredo to kind of, take the helm, if you will, they've been performing pretty consistent. And then on top of that, I mean, Corey Day, I gotta be real. I had my doubts on Corey Day. I still do. But I'll give him all the credit in the world. He is still holding on inside of the top 12, 5 races in. Raja Caruth with having to balance rides between Junior Motorsports and Jordan Anderson Racing. He's still up here. He's still performing pretty consistently. So overall, coming from trucks. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, but it's pretty impressive to see that Caruth has definitely adjusted pretty well and has definitely come a pretty good ways in the early goings of the season. So I can't wait to see what the rest of the year plays out for him. To see what that's like. But let's switch over to the Cup side when it comes to the points. Tyler Reddick is 137 points above the cutoff line. Are we surprised? Bubba Wallace is up by 76. Ryan Blaney up by 71. And then Denny Hamlin is up by 60 points after winning Las Vegas. Chase Elliott is up by 51. Christopher Bell up by 47. Larson and Byron up by 40 points. Chris Buescher up by 29. Ty Gibbs up by 23. And then Joey Logano up by 18. Brad Keselowski up by 10. Preece up by 8. Michael McDowell up by 5. Carson Hocevar up by 1. And then it is a 3-way tie with SVG, Daniel Suarez, and AJ Allmendinger for the final spot, which SVG currently holds. So he is above the cutoff line, but not by much. He has obviously maybe a top 10.
Top 10s.
2 top 10s? Is that what you said?
2 top 10 total.
So that's what he has over Suarez and Allmendinger, which is the difference maker. So both.
SVG also does have a top 5. That's the only thing. The one top 10 is separating him and Suarez.
Yes. So, but that's the difference maker irregardless. So Suarez and Allmendinger are below the cutoff line. Zane Smith is down by 9. Ross Chastain down by 23. John Hunter Nemechek down by 26. And Kyle Busch down by 27.
Which is still doable. I mean, 5 races in.
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's still very early in the regular season. So, and plus with obviously the, you know, again, we've said it a lot every week, at least once every week, with the win and you're in pretty much being done away and having this format revert back to being just strictly consistency based. This should help out some of these guys, like Kyle Busch, for instance, whom, granted, the only thing he's used to doing is winning. Let's be honest with ourselves here, but he hasn't done that in 3 years. In the Cup side, he can do it everywhere else, just not in Cup. But he can still be consistent at the same time. So this should help Kyle Busch, and it should help out several other drivers as well, especially in the early going of the season.
And obviously, like the consistency. Bubba Wallace was always consistent.
Absolutely.
Look where he's at now.
Second in the points.
At least. So it just proves after 5 races, 23-11 has been holding the top 2 spots, I guess, hostage. For
a little over a month now.
Wow.
Yeah, I kid you not. It has been about a month that they've been holding up the top 2 positions for the first 5 races of the season. It's crazy. This is just what a wild time. It's a very interesting time in the Cup Series, especially in the opening stages of the season. But now let's shift over to our points, the GTN points, which have been added up and leaving Vegas. Stapleton, of course, was the big winner. However, the points that you're going to see on your screen, they're going to look just a skosh different, just as far as Stapleton goes. So you'll probably see a tiny little .5 next to his name just to fit in the little tiny box for the points. But he still has the points lead by 20.5 points. The only reason why he has a half point is because Kyle Larson went on to win the Cup race, or the O'Reilly's race as a Cup driver. Then myself with 18 points, Wyatt with 17, and Slifer with 16 points.
I guess that means I'm 3.5 out of first.
3.5 out of first right now.
I don't know if I mentioned it the other episodes, but I think cup drivers should not be able to race in the lower series.
I do agree with that. I do agree with
that. Cup drivers should not be able to go to O'Reilly and trucks. O'Reilly shouldn't be able to go to. They got enough drivers that nobody should go into a different series, even if they're all in the same track.
Yeah.
Because it's like with Larson doing O'Reilly and Cup, you don't see people like Bubba Wallace or Tyler Reddick or Logano going to O'Reilly.
No.
And racing. So that's like having a distinct advantage, so to speak. Because one, you already know where the lines are at.
Yep.
Nobody else does.
Absolutely.
But that's honestly my opinion.
Yeah. I do definitely see the stance on that. It's always been an ongoing debate of, should Cup drivers race in the lower level division, of like O'Reilly's and the truck series. And obviously NASCAR has kind of done what they could to satisfy the fans, but also accommodate for the Cup drivers at the same time in some way, shape, or form. And although I can appreciate their, obviously their efforts, the Cup drivers have taken full advantage of at least stringing out their dates instead of racing consecutively every single week.
Because if Larson and Briscoe weren't in that race, number one, Roger Carruth really had the car to beat.
Yeah.
So he would have won. I think he would have won.
Yeah, easily, yeah.
But as the results show, Sheldon Creed is like the O'Reilly original winner, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Absolutely. All right. But that, ladies and gentlemen, was the whole damn points. Wyatt hopefully should be here next week to do the whole damn points. But now, I don't think we talked about it before the show even started. I don't really think there was any breaking stories, was there?
Not that I am aware.
I think if there really isn't any sort of breaking news, then that means we can segue into previewing Darlington. All three divisions are back. All three. So Trucks makes the return with O'Reilly's and the Cup Series. And this is the first time in quite a while that I remember Darlington being this early in the season, or at least being moved to this early in the season.
It's usually throwback weekend.
It usually would either be at least in recent memory, or at least when I first started watching Darlington, at least the first Darlington race would be right around the 5th or 6th race of the season. And I
Because
started,
last year it was the first weekend in April.
yeah. So, I mean, it seems like they kept moving it up and up and up and up, at least the first race. Um,
Yeah.
but no, and even like, I mean, because I started watching back in 2002. So at that point, you had Daytona, Rockingham, Vegas, Atlanta, and then Darlington for several of those years. And then they moved it to Mother's Day weekend. At least the first Darlington race, they moved it to around Mother's Day weekend. And then kind of kept it around like the first third of the season. And then from then on, I think they just kept moving it further and further and further up the schedule.
Well, 2002, when it was called Winston Cup, the first Darlington race was March 17th.
That's funny. And by tomorrow, which would have already happened, it would have been 24 years ago to the day when obviously we had that first Darlington race of 2002.
Mm-hmm. And then the fall one was September 1st.
It makes. I'll also kind of go on a little tangent here before we get into previewing. There's two things. One, why are we still doing Throwback Weekend? First of all, and the only reason why I say this is because back when we first started doing it, back in 2015, I thought it was the coolest thing yet. The coolest thing ever to see, like the mellow yellow scheme, like even some of Bobby Allison's cars, like even Rusty Wallace's Miller genuine draft car back in the day, or even
like I think they had a Kodak. I think one time
they did.
I think
they had a Harry Gant throwback at one point as well. A throwback to Dale Earnhardt in the early days, long before he moved over he signed on with RCR. Hell, even RCR throwbacks, like when, before we had the famous, font that we have now, back in like the early to mid 80s. So like seeing those schemes was awesome for the time, right? But then, and especially we kept Throwback Weekend on Labor Day weekend. That was the best time to do it. But then they moved it up to the first Darlington race. And we still got to see some cool throwbacks, don't get me wrong. But I feel like over the years, Throwback Weekend had started to become a little bit more staler every year, because now we're starting to see schemes from the 2000s to 2010s, and it's making me feel old. And I know you don't want to hear that. I know you
to my world.
And it's
but here's my take on Throwback Weekends. If you want to really truly go Throwback Weekend, dust off those old ass cars and run them. You want to go throwback? Run them.
I mean, hey, we could do that, honestly. You just have to go digging through Dale Jr.'s graveyard, the car graveyard.
I don't think he'd have a problem with it.
I don't think so. I personally don't think so.
But this is my thing with, I would honestly like to go see his graveyard.
Yeah.
I would. But I think Junior's going to have a specific area of his land just for Junior Motorsports cars. Tell me you couldn't imagine that actually happening.
I mean, possibly.
But you got everybody else's cars, and then like whatever down corner of his lot, he's gonna have, you know, Junior Motorsports cars. But also, like, if they're doing paint schemes, do it like 99 and back.
I think so. I think what we need to do is enforce. I mean, like if we want to keep Throwback Weekend interesting, I think what needs to happen. Two things need to happen. One, put Throwback Weekend back on Labor Day weekend. That was the best time to do it.
Sure.
Number two, let's start, you know, going through and setting Throwback Weekend on a certain decade. All right, so this year we're going to throw back to the 80s. Okay, this year we're going to throw back to the 60s. This year we're going to throw back to the 1979 Daytona 500. All right, everybody go.
Okay, we're aging me now here. But no, I think, like, okay, Cup Series, you can do like the Winston Cup Series and all that.
Right.
O'Reilly, back in the day when it was, like the Busch Series and all that stuff. The trucks, not much you can do with them.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I think lately, the O'Reilly series have had better throwback paint schemes than the Cup.
I would agree with that. I can definitely see it. Oh man.
I mean, what is Kyle Busch going to do? Grab one of his old paint schemes?
I would laugh. I honestly would laugh if he called up Eminem's like, "Hey guys."
And who drives the 18?
In O'Reilly's?
No, in Cup.
Nobody. Because the 18 is not in Cup. It's the 54 now.
Oh, God. Okay, so what I would like to see Christopher Bell do, since he drives the 20, Tony Stewart, Home Depot.
Ah, here you go.
That would really be, oof. And I don't know if Austin Dillon could get away with it, because it would pull so many heartstrings on everybody, all the loyal diehard fans. And you know what I'm about to say.
Yes.
And this is going, like you said, Labor Day weekend. One time only for Throwback Weekend, we see that black number 3.
I think, I mean, that definitely, it's going to do a lot emotionally. There are some that are going to love it, some that are going to hate it, some that will be, crying their eyes out because like, oh my God, like it's either,
I ain't gonna lie, I'd be one of them.
Yeah. It's either they'll be crying their eyes out. It's like, oh my God, it's so great to see the scheme back out on the track again with this number. And then there's gonna be probably another group of people crying, is like, oh my God, why the hell is this car on the track?
And you know what SVG could do? Sharpie.
Yes.
Think about it. Kurt Busch.
Could do that.
Maybe for Ty Gibbs, maybe Little Tykes.
Could do that.
No, honestly, it would be a very emotional day if they did that. And how about also for Throwback Weekend, whoever's in the booth, get rid of them. Bring the people who did it, like Daryl Waltrip, because goddamn, we need to hear that boogity boogie. Who else was in the booth back in the day?
Larry Mack.
That's
still with Fox. Yeah, Larry Mack is still there.
Yeah. Bring him in the booth, not in the cutaway car.
And also, like, this is just something small for me, but I liked the physical cutaway car a lot better than what we have right now with the digital.
No, but I like both. Because the one they have now, it's like they go more in depth with it.
I think you could benefit from having both, honestly. You could, because like you could have a car that NASCAR could send, like, kind of like of how it, the cutaway car would always be, have half the body and like have half the body attached and the rest can be exposed.
No, I just realized something.
What?
All three are at Darlington.
Oh yeah.
Who's supposed to be making his O'Reilly debut this weekend? Ain't he supposed to be racing at Darlington? Lead us.
He's not on the entry list. He's supposed
Which one was it?
Rockingham. He's making his debut at Rockingham next month.
Oh, okay. Close enough.
But oh man, but I think we're getting off topic here. Now let's shift our focus back onto the present Darlington. On the present. All three divisions are back together again. This is our first visit to Darlington, obviously for the year. But it's a lot earlier than what we've been used to. Obviously for April or Mother's Day weekend in recent memory. So, what do you think we're going to expect out of the Darlington weekend in March?
I think, yeah, this is the first time since that I recall since 2002. It's going to be very chaotic. We know they're going to hug the bottom. But it's a track that you really can't prepare for. Because one end of the track is small. And the other one is, I'd say, normal size.
Yeah.
So it's like you combined a short track with a mile and a half.
It's about in between, like a mile and a mile and a half. I think it's like 1.34 ish miles. Pretty close to that, but yeah, I mean, obviously Darlington with its shape, it's very unique. So your car or truck.
1.366.
There we go.
Egg shape. There we go.
But yeah, no, I think for obviously what we've seen in previous years, your car is not going to handle the same on one end as it will in the other. Especially, just of how different each end of the racetrack is and how tight, like obviously turns 3 and 4 are going to be, and how there's not a lot of room to really breathe through the turns, especially because these corners are very narrow. So there's going to be a lot of give and take. Obviously, there's going to be some drivers that may be up against the wall. Some drivers may be trying to find some grip on the bottom. The pavement hasn't been touched since, I think it was back in 2008. That was probably the last time that the track had been paved or repaved. At least I do believe, but it's going to be, I'd say this year should be pretty interesting.
Darlington Raceway was most recently repaved in 2008.
Correct. Correctamungo.
And it was completely repaved back in 1965.
Wow.
So between 65 and 2008, it was never touched.
That's wild, actually.
It's
also impressive to me that between 65 and 2008, that pavement had lasted as long as it has.
Oh, I agree.
At that point, like it didn't even look like it needed any sort of, construction done. It looks that good.
And 97 and 98, they swapped the front stretch with the back.
Yep.
So it's just like Phoenix.
But they flipped the ends around.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
Makes it more interesting.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So.
Okay. I think with that said, though, Slifer, I think it's time we get on down into our predictions here for the Darlington weekend. And for those that are brand new to the show and are not exactly sure how we make our picks, here's how we make them. We give you a driver who we think is going to win. Pretty self-explanatory. Driver to stay away from is the driver that hasn't been doing well the last couple of weeks, or we're just coming up to a track where they don't really perform all that well at, whether statistically or in general. The dark horse is the exact opposite, and the lady in black. This is going to be a pretty good mystery for all three divisions, but we'll definitely know who comes out on top for all three. But it should make for a very interesting weekend.
And how many Darlington stripes we're going to have.
Absolutely. So with that said, Slifer, take it away, man. You're up.
Okay. All right. Truck series. My dark horse. I'm actually taking Honeycutt on this one.
All right.
To stay away from this, I don't know how I feel about this to stay away from, but he's still learning. So I'm going to take Mini Tyrell.
Okay. Yeah, that one does make a lot of sense.
Trust me, there was somebody on there that seemed more fitting for it, but at the same time, my driver to win, I'm going to take Thor Sports' own Ty Majeski in that number 88.
Okay.
Make sure I got the right one pulled up here. Oh. All right. O'Reilly Cities. My dark horse. It's going to be Roger Caruth.
Okay.
Even though he is in the 32. Because somebody, according to the sign-up list or whatever, there's nobody driving the 88. Stay away. I'll take SpongeBob's best friend, Patrick Star. And my driver to win. You know what? Give me RCR's Austin Hill.
Okay.
And that was hurtful. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm extremely hurt by that.
Of course you are.
Did he?
Where's there we go. The Cup Series. Dark Horse. I'm going to take Wyatt's best friend, Joey Logano.
There you go.
Well, would I catch hell for this next week? Yes. Do I care? No.
No.
Stay away from. Here's another one that's going to be hurtful to say. I'm going to take Connor's Village.
Yeah.
I mean, could I have easily chose Cole Custer? Yeah. But obviously, how the first 5 races have gone, not been a strong suit. But I'm going to go for a shocker for my driver to win. He is part of 2311. Give me Bubba.
Okay.
I mean, they've been on a tear the first 5 races, proven by Tyler Reddick. And he's been having a good car so far this season.
Okay, I like that. I like that. All right, so before we get on down into my predictions, Stapleton and Wyatt have both submitted their picks. Obviously, Wyatt made his before we started the show and before he went to bed. So if you were wondering where his predictions were, Sly, it's in this Google Doc that I currently am in possession of. So his picks are the following, starting off with trucks. His dark horse is Lane Riggs. His driver to stay away from is Corey LaJoy. And his driver to win is Caden Honeycutt. I do like those picks, actually. Those are pretty satisfying.
So we had the same right idea, but we just swapped our dark horse and driver to win.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for the O'Reilly series, his dark horse is Sheldon Creed. Driver to stay away from is Corey Day. And his driver to win is Brandon Jones. I mean, honestly, I can definitely, I can get behind those predictions. And then for the Cup side, his dark horse is Zane Smith. His driver to stay away from is Todd Gilliland. And his driver to win is Chase Briscoe.
Also, Stapleton just put his in.
Yes, and we're actually going to read those right now. For trucks, his dark horse is Ty Majeski. His driver to stay away from is Daniel Dye. And his driver to win is Caden Honeycutt.
Hey, Stapleton, do not switch my picks, okay?
For the
Except for the stay away.
For the O'Reilly series, his dark horse is Parker Retzloff. His driver to stay away from is Jeb Burton. And his driver to win is Christopher Bell. And in parentheses, he puts here, I don't care if it's only a half a point. I think he wins.
Hey, but if he does, say he does get that win, at least he'd put him back in on an even playing field with everybody else.
That's true. It'll put him back to being in whole points. Now, for his Cup side, his dark horse is Chase Briscoe. His driver to stay away from is Connor Zilic. His driver to win. This is an interesting one. I like this. I can get behind it. Brad Keselowski. Keselowski has won at Darlington in the past, so this could very well happen. This could very well happen.
And Keselowski has so far had a better season than he did last year.
Absolutely. I think by a landslide. And even with, the injury that he sustained in the offseason that he's still kind of recovering from, he's holding his own.
I give kudos to Keselowski for what he had to go for. and still competing, hanging in there
Absolutely.
at the top level. So I can see it.
I can see it. I can see it as well. All right. Well, now it is officially my turn to make those predictions.
I don't know if you heard me on that one.
Did you say, I heard, oh my God.
No mic cut off. No mic cut off. No mic cut off.
Oh, yeah. When we get to the cup side. Okay, but here we go. For my driver to win, in starting off with the truck series, okay, so I messed up here, by the way. I do want to correct myself. So Wyatt's dark horse was actually Chandler Smith, and I messed this up because I forgot that Lane Riggs is driving the 34, not the 38. So I do want to make that correction before I get too far.
Did he only put numbers in?
He only put numbers in. Yeah, for that sheet, he's only using the numbers, so I'm just going along with it. But here we go. For my driver to win in the truck series, I'm personally, in my mind, I'm thinking Ben Rhodes might have something to say here. It's an interesting prediction. I mean, but we have seen, I think Ben Rhodes has won at Darlington in the past. So this could very well work out for him. Give me Ben Rhodes as the driver to win. My driver to stay away from, I will also agree with Mini Tyrell. This is a type of track that that is going to be very rough on him. Very, very rough on him, because this is going to be the first time ever on this track for Mini Tyrell. So
this kind of style of configuration,
especially that. So there's a good chance that Mini Tyrell is going to be nowhere in contention at all. Mm-hmm. My dark horse is going to be Justin Haley. Probably the only other colic truck that has shown the most speed so far this year, besides Brendan Queen. So I do think that Justin Haley will continue to run pretty well for Dodge and Colic, and obviously continue to provide those results. For the O'Reilly Series race at Darlington, thank God Carson Kvapil is back in his original ride. So no more hopping around for a while. But starting off with my driver to win in the O'Reilly Series, I am keeping my eyes, and I think I might go on a whim. Maybe not. I don't know. But depends on how you view it. Maybe not. I don't know.
Now this is your driver to win, right?
This is my driver to win.
Okay.
This is my driver to win. I'm personally going to say, stranger things have happened.
Oh boy.
Stranger things have happened. I'm gonna say somebody who I think has shown speed over the course of the last several races, and is probably due for a win this year. Give me Jesse Love as my driver to win.
Okay.
Between him and Austin Hill, both are pretty consistent. I think I definitely say Jesse Love leans more on the consistent side. Look at last year. He opened and closed the season with a win, and ultimately it gave him a championship in the process in, thank God, a dead playoff format. So,
true.
But overall, he was pretty consistent. So I will say Jesse Love is my driver to win for Darlington. Driver to stay away from. I am going to say, for my driver to stay away from, I think I'm going to say William Sawalich is my driver to stay away from. I kind of feel like we might see something similar to what we saw last year, where, you know, he gets a strong start to the season and then just kind of fades away and then comes back at the tail end. It could happen, but I'm going to say he's my driver to stay away from for Darlington. My dark horse is going to be Corey Day. Corey Day, I think this could suit this type of track could suit Corey Day because, as Stapleton had pointed out in his history, he is a dirt racer. Mm-hmm. And what do you do at Darlington, especially with the old pavement? You slide, especially on a hot day. You slide. Mm-hmm. And this could very well be in Corey Day's wheelhouse. So give me Corey Day as the dark horse. And I know you've been praying for this. I know you've been praying, but fingers crossed. Hopefully we don't get some mic cut out here. It's time for the main event. Did it cut?
Prayed too hard.
Oh,
it cut off a little bit.
At least it was okay. At least it was a little bit. You still got a good bit of it.
It was during your when you were extending the end in Maine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a smidge.
But it's time for the main event.
There we go.
It is the 7th annual Goodyear 400 at the Darlington Raceway for the NASCAR Cup Series. Here we go. With my driver to win. My driver to win for the Cup race at Darlington. You know, in my honest opinion, I mean, I don't think it's going to be much of a surprise here, in my opinion, because I know we have talked about Chevrolet kind of being on a little bit of a drought to start off the year, which I don't think was really anything new. I mean, remember a couple of years ago where the Fords, especially when the Dark Horse came out, they were kind of on a drought. And then here comes good old Brad K cruising on to a victory. We could see something similar here with Kyle Larson winning at Darlington.
Oh, you just made Stapleton's night.
Oh, he more than likely. More than likely. I might have jinxed him at the same time. My driver to stay away from. I think I'm gonna agree here with Connor Zilic. I personally, I'm just gonna agree with that because the last 5 races, I mean, like some of the, at least in the previous races where he has had some very piss poor finishes, half of them weren't even his own fault.
Yeah.
So I mean, for Vegas, especially last week, that was kind of, I don't know what you call it. I mean, it was definitely a rookie mistake. But he's just not been there the first 5 races of the season. So I will unfortunately have to say Connor Zilic is my driver to stay away from. My dark horse, I will say somebody that's actually been catching my eye here for the first 5 races, or at least, actually, I might scratch that. Let's scratch it and let's change it up a little bit. I want to say Chris Buescher's my dark horse.
What were you originally going to say before you scratched it?
Suarez.
Oh, okay. No,
I originally was going to say Suarez.
I thought you were going to say somebody else.
But Buescher has done pretty well at Darlington in years past. I mean, he was close to winning 2 years ago when he was having that fight with Reddick, and then obviously Reddick kind of slipped up, and that, again, I say Brad K, because I still go back to that race where he managed to get around both Buescher and Tyler Reddick to cruise onto a victory. I personally will say that Chris Buescher still going to be a pretty good dark horse for Darlington.
But do you notice though that we didn't even mention who was driving the 25 truck this week?
Yeah, Corey LaJoy. Absolutely. And I also saw the scheme that he was driving, which is like, okay, that's cool. He's throwing it back to his dad when he drove in the truck series. And I was like, oh man, that's awesome. I like that. That's good. But alrighty, Sly. We've pretty much done everything that we needed to do. We have reviewed Vegas as best we could, gone over the points. There really wasn't much any of breaking stories at all, but we previewed Darlington. We ranted about Throwback Weekend in some cases, got back on track to make our predictions. So one last question, Slifer. Any final thoughts before we get the Darlington weekend underway?
How many Darlington stripes are we going to have?
That is
over
a really
under
good question. 10. Definitely over 10.
I'm talking about it just in one series, not all three.
Well, still definitely over 10.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. But ladies and gentlemen, as far as Stapleton and Wyatt's predictions, you will see those over in the Reddit page in case if you may or may not have missed out on the show. But regardless of that, we want to thank you guys a lot for listening to this episode of Gamers Talk NASCAR. If you are watching this on either Spotify or listening to this on either Spotify or watching this on YouTube on our 11 Podcast YouTube channel, be sure, if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to hit that like button and be sure to consider subscribing. And if you're listening on Spotify, be sure to hit the follow button so you don't miss future episodes that drop every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on both Spotify and YouTube at the exact same time. And again, be sure to join our new Reddit page. Just go to reddit.com and type in r/Gamers Talk NASCAR to join up on that little community. It is definitely going to be a lot of fun to try to do the best that I can and what others can do in order to pretty much just keep up with posting on that page and just keep up to date on everything that is currently going on that Reddit page as well. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and put a cap on this episode. Thank you guys a lot for watching and listening. On behalf of Slifer, I'm Elijah Leonard signing out, and we'll catch you all on the very next episode of Gamers Talk NASCAR.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for listening to tonight's episode of Gamers Talk NASCAR. Really hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to hit that follow button so you don't miss a future episode throughout the NASCAR season. And as always, we'll catch you on the next one every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Time.